Welcome to Honeybee. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the bell. Real stories of love, lies, and betrayal, where every truth stings. Let's begin. My name is Tucker. I'm 32 years old, and until about a year ago, I genuinely believed I'd found someone extraordinary, someone who might have been my forever. But now, when I look back, I can clearly see how quickly infatuation can blur judgment, making the warning signs appear invisible even when they're flashing in plain sight. I first met June on a dating app, one of those swipe-based platforms that everyone seems to use these days. Her profile immediately drew me in. She had stunning photos, a radiant and confident smile, and a bio that made her seem successful, focused, and grounded. At the time, I was working as a senior analyst at a financial consulting firm in Denver. My income was solid, but far from extravagant. June's pictures gave off an image of elegance and sophistication. She looked polished, well put together, and to be honest, she seemed out of my league. Still, I decided to take a chance and messaged her, something witty about a small detail in her profile, hoping to stand out among what I assumed was a flood of other messages. Her reply came 2 days later. It was short and polite, but not exactly warm. I tried to keep the conversation going, asking questions, searching for shared interests. But her responses remained brief and often took days to arrive. Most guys probably would have given up, but there was something about her that went beyond her looks. I kept reaching out, respectful and steady. Eventually, I found out she'd been single for about 6 months. That small fact made me feel a little more hopeful, so I didn't give up. I continued messaging her, never being pushy, just friendly and open. I asked to meet casually for coffee or drinks. No pressure, just a chance to talk in person. It took several weeks of patient persistence before she finally agreed to meet. Our first date was at a mid-range Italian restaurant on a Wednesday night. When she walked in, she looked even more beautiful in person. We ordered drinks and appetizers, and once we started talking, I realized she wasn't just attractive, she was fascinating. June had a bachelor's degree in business management and owned a hair salon where she employed 3 stylists. She had built the business from scratch over 5 years. She spoke with clarity and wit, sharing stories about demanding clients and the challenges of entrepreneurship. I was honestly impressed. She seemed like the complete package, intelligent, confident, and successful. That dinner stretched from appetizers to full meals to dessert. We talked for almost 3 hours. When we finally walked out, I felt like I had just experienced one of the best first dates of my life. After that night, we began seeing each other regularly. We'd meet for dinner, grab weekend coffees, or go to art galleries and local events. One of the first things I discovered was that June was an incredible cook. Whenever I visited her cozy one-bedroom apartment in a trendy neighborhood, she'd make elaborate meals from different cuisines, completely from scratch. Those nights felt intimate and special, like she was investing real effort into what was growing between us. I honestly felt lucky. It seemed like I'd somehow captured the attention of someone who could have had anyone but had chosen me. But June didn't rush into anything official. About 6 weeks after our dates became frequent, I asked her to be my girlfriend, to make what we had exclusive. She said she needed time to think. I didn't push. I just kept being kind and enjoyed the time we shared. 2 weeks later, she said yes. That night, after she left, I texted my best friend, overjoyed. I told him I might have just started dating the woman who could be the one. The first month of being officially together felt flawless. We saw each other at least 3 times a week, texted every day, had incredible conversations, strong physical chemistry, and a connection that felt real. In my mind, I was already imagining a future, meeting families, getting engaged, maybe even marriage. But by the 2nd month, I began to notice things. We didn't live together. She had her place, and I had mine. But whenever we were together, a certain pattern emerged. June always wanted things her way. That alone isn't uncommon. Everyone has preferences. But when she didn't get her way, she wouldn't let it go. She had a way of wearing me down until I eventually agreed. Whether it was going to restaurants way beyond my budget, buying expensive things I didn't plan for, or attending events I had no interest in. And she had a particular tactic that worked all too well, asking for things in front of other people. I've never liked public scenes. She figured that out quickly. If we were out with her friends and she wanted to go somewhere pricey, she'd casually bring it up in front of everyone, making it sound like we'd already agreed. I'd feel pressure to say yes to avoid awkwardness or looking cheap. Later, when it was just us, I couldn't back out without appearing unreliable. At first, I brushed it off, even admired her boldness. But by the 6th month, I couldn't ignore it anymore. It wasn't assertiveness. It was manipulation. She used social pressure and my own personality against me. Even then, I made excuses for it. Everything else in the relationship felt so good that I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal. I finally decided to talk to her. I calmly asked why she felt entitled to push me into things that disregarded my boundaries and my budget. She looked genuinely confused, or pretended to be. She acted like I was making it up. When I gave her specific examples, she deflected and said, "If you love me, you should want to make me happy." She flipped it completely, making me feel like I was in the wrong for questioning her behavior. I tried to explain that love doesn't erase personal limits, that she needed to respect mine too. She changed the subject without warning. After that, nothing changed. If she wanted something, she expected it right then, no questions asked. Then came the night that changed everything. We had agreed to meet at my apartment after work. Around 5:30, I called to confirm. She sounded cheerful and told me she was already at a high-end steakhouse downtown, an expensive place where entrees start at $50. She asked me to meet her there instead. I was uneasy, but I didn't want to argue over phone, so I agreed. When I got there, I found her sitting at a big table with 3 of her friends. They'd clearly been eating and drinking for a while. As soon as she saw me, she called a waiter and asked for the bill. Before I could even sit down, she handed it to me. The total was $847. This was for a dinner I wasn't invited to, at a place I hadn't agreed to go to, on a night we were supposed to have a quiet evening at my place. I calmly told her I couldn't pay for it. It was way beyond what I'd planned or could comfortably afford. Her face changed instantly, from cheerful to furious. She raised her voice, drawing attention from nearby tables. She said that as her boyfriend, I should take care of things like this without hesitation. Then she compared me to other men, saying none of them ever questioned paying for her. I felt my face burning as people stared. I reminded her of how often I'd agreed to her requests in the past, then asked, "Am I not good enough for you?" She shouted, "You'll never be good enough for me if you can't handle something this small." That sentence hit like a punch. The restaurant fell quiet. I stood there, took a deep breath, and said softly, "You're probably right." Then I turned around and walked out without looking back. I got into my car and drove home, knowing it was over. I expected her to call that night, either furious or apologetic. She didn't. Not that night, not the next day. Instead of feeling anxious, I felt strangely clear, free, even. 3 days later, one of her friends texted me. She said June had bragged before I arrived that I'd covered bill no matter how high it was, that she had me wrapped around her finger. Her friends had disagreed with her plan, but went along. When I left, they immediately split their share and told her she'd made a huge mistake. But June had laughed, saying I'd come crawling back within a week. She miscalculated. On the 4th day, she finally called. I let it go to voicemail. She texted, accusing me of embarrassing her and leaving her stranded. She claimed she still loved me, but was the bigger person for reaching out. I deleted the messages and sent one reply. "We're done. Don't contact me again." She called nonstop, sent more messages, angry, guilty, then threatening. She said she'd show up at my workplace. I ignored her. The next evening, I walked into my apartment and found her inside. She'd used the spare key I'd given her months earlier. I told her to collect her things, leave the key, and go. She refused, shouting that she wasn't leaving until we talked this through. I stayed calm and called a non-emergency police line. Officers arrived and told her she had no legal right to be there. She escalated, swore at them, and refused to cooperate. They warned her, leave on her own or in handcuffs. She finally grabbed her belongings and stormed out, yelling threats down the hallway. The next morning, I spoke with my lawyer and filed for a restraining order. We had more than enough evidence. Texts, the police report. The order was granted within a week. June was officially served, and I changed my locks and installed a security camera. Weeks passed without any further contact. My life slowly returned to a calm normal I hadn't felt in months. I thought a lot about everything during that time. The warning signs had been there from the beginning. Her distant replies, her manipulations. But I ignored them because I didn't want to admit the truth. I excused behavior I never should have accepted. That restaurant incident showed me everything I needed to know. To her, I wasn't a partner. I was a provider, a resource. She didn't want a relationship built on respect or love. She wanted control. When I finally drew a line, she exposed how little I truly meant to her. I'm not bitter. I know not everyone is like June, but I've learned. I've grown more cautious, less willing to excuse red flags just because someone is beautiful or charming. And I'll never again let anyone convince me that setting boundaries makes me not good enough. Walking away was the best decision I ever made.